We, our treadmate, lower your iPod and surrender your time. Your enthusiasm and passion for Star Trek will be added to our own. Resistance is futile.
Is this live?
Is this where I sit? Are we here for the duration?
No.
You know, we were both captains of starships. How is it that we are never included?
I don't understand anything.
I just want you all to know. By Rakkar's hammer, I will be obeyed!
You will all come tonight to a band concert.
Yes, thank you, Mikey! That's one for everyone!
Goodbye.
And there will be more of them across the weekend, as I'm sure you know. So, time to meet some more of our guests. We're going to bring a few on now, so we've had lots of guests, and we haven't got that much time before we bring our captains on, so we want to get the chance for you to meet all of them. So, will you please give a very big warm welcome and welcome to the stage. First of all, Robin Curtis.
I'm just going to have a little bit of a fanboy fangasm moment. They're all back there. And I was in a room with them. None of them talked to me. It was amazing. Just kind of walking going, hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Good, good. Who are you? No, never mind, don't worry about it. Are you excited as I am? Great, great. It's going to be a fun evening. I'm going to do some questions myself and kind of do it in a Jeremy Kyle kind of situation. I'll be asking for their DNA all over me later. Especially Scott Bakula. Oh, this is what I like. Hello, Mark. Everybody, just stand there for a minute, Mark. Mark is my driver, my longtime driver, and Mark is also a huge fan, and he's peeing himself at the same time as I am. He was so excited he got lost coming in tonight. I'm just waiting to find out if we're ready. I'm getting the thumbs up. So, on that note, just give me a second here. Enterprise, this is Barrowman, Captain Jack Harkness. Are we ready to beam them down? Thank you very much. How was that? Ladies and gentlemen, he played Captain Jonathan Archer. Please welcome Scott Bakula. He played Captain Benjamin Sisko. Avery Brooks. She played Captain Catherine Janeway. to scoot up here. Captain Jean-Luc Picard! He played Captain James T. Kirk. Welcome everybody. First time 5 captains have been on the stage in Europe together. An amazing feat. If I can start off first, guys, by taking you back, jumping back, time traveling a little bit to the first day that you were on set. Was there any nerves? Was there anything you were fearful of? Or is there a memory that you have of that day that sits with you to this day? I'll start off with Bill.
Well, that's so far back that I can't remember. Everybody else has less time here. What was the question? You want to know what was it like?
Were you nervous on the first
Was
day?
I nervous on the
Were you
set?
scared?
The first thing I had to do on set in the first episode was punch a stuntman so he took a fall. And when he took the fall, his pants split. And with his rear end looking at me, he said, "You've just had your picture taken." And that was my introduction to Star Trek, and we've gone downhill ever since.
Patrick.
Yes.
Any memory? Any fear?
Help. Oh, there we go. Yes, I remember vividly my first shot. It was not the first day of filming, it was the second. I had to walk along a corridor and meet Riker and Wesley Crusher getting out of an elevator. And I was to look at them, say nothing, and walk on. So when it came to my close-up, which was pretty early on, we did this. I looked at him, and I turned and went off. And the director said, "Cut, we got that." And Riker, Jonathan Frakes, said, "Is that what they call British face acting?" Welcome to Next Generation.
Is it on? Oh, is it ever on? My memory has to do with Sir Patrick Stewart. As all good memories do. I don't know if it was the first day, Patrick, but it was certainly the first week. I was in a ball of nerves, as you can well imagine. They'd given me a 5-page monologue on the bridge. I didn't understand a word that was written. I went over to craft service to have my 53rd cup of coffee. It was not yet 6 a.m. And Patrick came in, and I went over to him and I said, help me, tell me something. How am I going to get through this? He said, listen to me very closely. After 7 years, you shall look back on this, and you shall consider this body of work the proudest work we've ever done. I can assure you. And he was right.
Avery. Any memory, any fear, anything that sticks out?
I don't think, I was trying to remember the first shot. I don't remember that quite. But I think there was too much to do for me to be afraid. I was looking at that, I said, well, I might as well just go in here and go to work. Because there was so much ahead of me. But I will tell you, I was nervous about working with Patrick Stewart. We had this one scene together. One. So, because that's the scene everybody looked at when I first did this screen test thing, you see. So I say, well, I guess if I don't get it right this time, he won't fire me.
You were there a long time.
In what, the scene?
No, no, no. Scott.
My first day was mostly spent trying to figure out where Porthos was going to pee and poop for 8 years. We never figured that out.
All right, what are this is a question for everybody again. What are the best and the worst things about playing a captain? And having becoming the icons that you are today, what is the best and worst things about it? Kate, do you want to start that one?
I'm a little jet-lagged, but I'll give it a go. Everything about playing the first and only female captain is best. I realized that I was making television history.
Hey.
And I realized that I was going to have to do my level best to make you all follow me. And I thought about it a lot, and I have to say, if this is the beginning and the end of my obituary, I think I'd be quite happy. Thank you.
Scott? Best and worst things?
The worst thing was having to follow these 4 captains. And the best thing was that I'm stupid enough that I brainwashed myself into believing that I actually was the first captain, so I didn't have to follow him.
The illusion is good. The illusion is very good. Bill?
Well, the best thing about being the captain is you're given lines to say that order people around. So, you sit down and people listen to you. So you're under the illusion people are listening to you. And then the worst thing is you realize they're not.
You know, I have no idea. I mean, just as Kate was talking about or alluding to, somebody asked me one time, what does it feel like to be the first African-American captain? Well, but that's an interesting entry, but the point is there's nothing to play. I can't play being colored. You see what I mean? So, okay, the fact that I'm a captain and the fact that I got a sci-fi promotion was a wonderful thing. I suppose the worst of it is, I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, both answers are to do with being captain, and I don't know how you guys felt about this, but in addition to being captain, there was a sense in which you were also the leader, the company spokesperson, should it be required, the person that took a lot of responsibility for other things. So my worst moment was in the early weeks of the show when I had called my colleagues together to lecture them about too much fooling around on the set. And Denise Crosby said, "Oh, come on, Patrick, we're going to have some fun." And I said, "We are not here to have fun." That was the worst part of it. But the best part was that over the next 6.5 years, those same actors taught me that it is possible to do great work and have fun at the same time.
I'm going to throw one question out to the crowd, mix it up a little bit. Gentleman there with the microphone. Question from the audience. Anybody? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Yes.
Hi. I'd hate myself forever if I didn't ask this, but today is actually my birthday.
Happy birthday. Now sit down.
So it'd just be great if I could get the 5 captains to sing Happy Birthday.
Oh, here we go. All right, you asked for everybody. Everybody, here we go. What's your name? What's your name? Richard.
What's your name?
Richard? Richard. Happy birthday to you. Everybody. To you.
What's his name?
Happy birthday, dear Richard. Break down, break down.
Happy birthday to you.
All I'll say is thank God there's not Star Trek the musical. No offense. Bill, I'm going to give this question to you first. Why do you think today that Star Trek, the brand, all the shows that have come, from the initial one in the beginning, why do you think it's so popular, 50 years on?
Well, it has to do with mythology. We're all indulging in a mythology. We're all participating in a ritual that is mythological. We're hardwired to want that mythological story. We captains are part of that mythology, as is the whole of Star Trek. So we're all united in a mythological bond. That's why we're here.
Are there... Now, having known that all the shows that you've all been in as popular, if there was one thing you could change about the show, either looking back on it or while you were doing it, what would it be? Or what
I would have been
been?
renewed for another 3 years.
Scott?
That would be my answer as well.
Avery?
Hawkins.
Kate?
I would have had Patrick's head.
All right. I like the pockets answer. That's my favorite. Did you know that when you guys had started out and things were going along, what was your first experience of a convention like this? When did you first experience your first either Comic-Con or Star Trek convention? Do you remember the first one?
You're looking at me? You looking at me?
I'm looking at
He was looking at me.
Would you like me to go first?
Bill,
Scott, you're
we're
first.
Go back there?
You go
We're
first.
all looking at you.
We all look up to
Go,
you.
Scotty. And talk long.
Scott, go ahead.
I was just talking about this today. My first convention was a Comic-Con back in the very beginning of Comic-Cons in San Diego. And I was there with Clive Barker and myself. And we were both marveling as we watched our two very different fan bases mix and mingle. The Quantum Leap fans and the Clive Barker fans. And then Burt Reynolds headbutted me. There's nothing else after that. I was out.
Patrick?
Yeah, I remember vividly. My colleagues had all been going to conventions throughout the first season. I didn't know what they were, I didn't understand them, nothing like that had ever been in my life. And anyway, my weekends were filled with prep for the next week and filled with fear and insecurity and doing my laundry, which I did all through the first season every Saturday morning. But right after last episode was shot, I had agreed that I would go to Denver to a convention, and I flew there, very nice, very comfortable. The car met me, picked me up, took me, and I ended up, as we always do, in a loading dock somewhere. And I went back and I was taken through corridors, and it was all a bit of a mess. Not really very salubrious. And I was chatting to the guy who said, "You've got 5 minutes," and I said finally, is there anybody out there? Is it going to be, and he looked at me and said, "Yeah." And I remember walking on stage and feeling like Sting.
I'm totally intrigued with the vision of Patrick Stewart being filled with fear and anxiety doing his laundry. You put a coin in the machine. So that's it. What are you? Oh, look at that.
Do you remember your first convention? And you know, also, did you expect there to be a huge turnout, or was it a shock?
Are you looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
That's fun. You're very good to look at, too. Very handsome. Is he the sexiest man in England?
Who said no? Piss off!
I don't remember my first one, but I remember my favorite. And it was here, in England. It was in Blackpool. And there were so many people there, I couldn't get over it, but you all were sort of screaming in a wonderful way, and I said, "I promise I will sign every autograph in this place." And I did.
Avery, were you surprised at the turnout at your first convention?
No. No. Because I wasn't the only one there.
Explain.
I was a part of something much larger than me by that time. So I expected there were going to be a lot of people there. Not because of me, and because of them. But I will tell you this thing. I mean, the convention will remain unnamed, but I bet you know. You know, the first time that I started to sign autographs, and these people, you know, the event people, volunteers I suppose, or whoever they work for, treated the people like cattle.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Say, "You're moving too slow, baby. Is that right?" To shake a person's hand and say their name? How long does that take? See what I mean?
Yeah.
And from that point forward, I take my time.
I know that's very much appreciated, right? Let's jump to a technology question.
That was a pandering statement.
Tomorrow when he does his autographs, everybody go slow. A technology question. Did any of you ever think that any of the technology from the show would actually come true? I'm not looking at you this time.
It looked like you were looking at me.
I'm gonna look right at Patrick.
You're looking at me.
Well, I can tell you that there are, at this moment, people in this country who are working on a kind of fairly simple, basic medical tricorder.
Yes.
A scanner, in other words. Handheld.
They're in this.
Well, Yeah, actually, it's a 10 million global competition being run by X Prize, who they're here this weekend. They are here, and it's to create a real life medical tricorder. Well, do you think? I mean, I remember my parents saying to me when I was younger, when they were growing up, they used to read Buck Rogers comics. My dad did, never thinking that one day a man would end up on the moon or there'd be space travel. And lo and behold, all of a sudden we're doing it. Do you think that something like the tricorder or anything?
Well, I want you to put yourself in my place. Standing in a crowded airport, Motorola had given me one of their first phones. And I'm standing, not really cognizant of people passing by. And I flip out the Motorola. And people, you hear the way your high-pitched laughter, that hyena sound.
That's right. It's called gay. It's called gay. Gay excitement.
Not necessarily.
No. Don't worry, they all know. It's fine.
It comes as news and a shock to me. That was the laughter I heard in the airport. Right.
But a lot of the, like you're saying, the medical technology, I mean, for instance, scanners, body scanners, I mean, do you ever think that one day there might be a way to materialize food in front of you? I mean, all the different technology on sci-fi shows tend to one day come true.
Yeah, I have the materializing food technology. It's called a cook.
I'm going to take another question from the audience. And raise your hands, and we'll get another one. Right, there you go.
What do you think to the new movie?
What do they think to the new movie?
The new crew, the new Star Trek, and all.
Scott?
I think we hand that right to Bill, don't you?
Bill?
I think of it with envy. I look on with great awe and wonder. They're doing a great job.
I'll tell you what I think, that it is yet, because I enjoyed that movie very much, it's another illustration of the absolutely unique phenomenon in the history of entertainment that is Star Trek.
Another question from the audience.
In all of the spin-offs and cameos that you've done, what's your favourite? Like Family Guy or Big Bang Theory?
Yes. I think it's a fact.
I wasn't listening.
It's a.
He does have a tendency to fade out.
Repeat the question.
Every so often.
Oh, is this the... Yes.
Your favorite cameo?
My favorite cameo? Actually, probably the one episode I did of Frasier. I really liked it.
What they don't talk about on The Next Generation is that Jonathan Frakes every so often has to slap Patrick around to wake him up. I wasn't listening.
What is the best thing that's happened to you as a result of being involved in the Star Trek world?
It remains to be seen.
Being here.
Better.
Okay. Not as much reaction as yours.
I think, without question, it's women in science, helping women in science. And I've actually really seen that go, and the kind of the result of it, so it's extremely gratifying.
And Scott, yourself?
I'm constantly amazed and happy to be a part of this phenomenon, really. And the phenomenon is the fans, and all over the planet still is an amazing, amazing thing to be a part of. It blows me away.
I'm looking at you now, Bill. The best thing that's happened to you over your career because of the Star Trek world.
What's the best thing that happened?
Yeah.
What's the best thing that... Well, so much flowed from being on Star Trek. Although my version of Star Trek only lasted 3 years, from that whole lifetime of adventure, the journey changed once I had finished with Star Trek. Mostly to the great good. So everything really came from Star Trek for me.
Patrick, in the next 50, you can answer that one.
It's very simple. It's friendship. It's falling in love with 9 actors that I worked with and learning to love them more with every year that goes by and missing them painfully when I don't see them often enough.
Another question from the floor.
Hi everyone. I was just wondering if you, Avery Brooks, if you would ever want to do a movie of Deep Space Nine, like the Search for Cisco?
I suppose yes, if I could join the search. Which would in part mean that they'd have to pay me more money. I will say, this is the truth. You better hurry up if that's what you have in mind. You see what I'm talking about? It was 20 years ago. Huh? You better hurry.
So in a follow-on from that question, what would it take if they came to you guys and said, we're going to do a movie where all of the captains end up meeting in an anomaly, a time anomaly, and they have to get themselves back to their own time? What would it take to get you back in the captain's outfits? Oh, well, we know money. We want to hear the emotional answer.
Thank you. That's all it would take. Or please.
Would any of you not want to do it?
In fact, when Next Generation and our run of movies was cancelled by the studio because, in their glorious words, we were suffering from franchise fatigue. There was a script that was being co-devised by Brent Spiner and John Logan, which was intended to do exactly that.
Do you think there will be any chance it'll be brought back up? I mean, because I'm sure if one of you said you wanted to do it, they would maybe want to do it. No? Yes? They're all behind you. Yes, they are.
I don't know if I want to work for Spiner.
Take another question from the crowd, right here, this gentleman.
For each captain, what was your most embarrassing fan moment?
Who would you like to start with?
Can we start with Bill?
We'll go right down the line.
I'm looking at you, Bill. I'm looking at you. That's right.
I find every band and their adulation embarrassing. But perhaps the lady who brought out her left breast to be signed. I poo-pooed it. I signed away and then wrote a treatise.
Was that a sacrifice, Bill?
A size D.
Was that before or after you signed the stuntman's left cheek?
You know too much about anatomy, Scott.
Oh, Patrick.
Yeah, it was at an event like this, and a boy stood up and said, I have two questions, and he asked the first question. It was a straightforward Star Trek question. And then I said, and you had something else to ask? And he said, well, it's not really a question, it's a request. Would you please marry my mother?
Mine was about marriage as well. I was at an event and two women came up to the stage and they said, we're desperate to ask a favor of you. I said, then come up on the stage and ask it, be my guest. They came up and they said, please marry us here. I said, I just play, Captain. And they said, no, we're dead serious. You and only you must officiate. So what do you think the nice Irish Catholic girl did? I married her.
Avery?
The day that these men on the crew were so relieved that I didn't have a disease in the back of my head. You see, this wonderful man who was doing the hair, and I had hair in the beginning, decided that he knew exactly what to do. And he was very famous in the industry and having done very famous people. And they believed him, and so did I. Until one day, he was cutting my hair. And then I felt this rapid patting. I said, I know what this is. I finally said, let me see a mirror. So the back of my head looked like, what is the most famous golf course in the UK? St. Andrews. St. Andrews. You see, with all the traps and the whole thing. That's the way the back of my head looked. Now, the crew didn't say anything. This was the pilot. So in the meantime, they were putting this stuff that looked like hair in the back of my head, etc., etc. But everybody knew it wasn't. And then finally, one day, you know, when it was all explained to them and they had some master come and do my hair, I said, well, what was the matter? And they fell out, started laughing. I said, what? We really thought you were ill and we were afraid to say so.
Scott?
I don't have anything.
No embarrassing fan moment? No proposals? No signing of butt cheeks?
No.
Really? Well,
I never get fun stuff like that.
let me change that for you.
Did you see how willingly he flung his rear end at you, Scott?
I'm really sorry. I told my partner, Scott, I would not drop my pants for Scott Blackwood. And I just did!
I think that's it for me. I think I'm done.
I'll take another,
That could be your most embarrassing moment right there.
I'll take another question from the audience. Here we go.
This is to all the captains. If they ever made another Star Trek series, how would you want it to be? With the new timeline, next generation maybe? Or how would you want it to be? Thank you.
That's a tough one.
Take place in the present?
I think it's directed at you.
Bill, you seem to have all the answers on these
He
ones.
said, do you want the next generation or the next or the next generation?
I think it would be the next generation. There. How's that? They look stumped. You've stumped them. Congratulations. Anybody else? Another question? Yes.
Hello there. If you could add anything to your captain chairs, what would it be?
Add anything to your captain's chairs, what would it be? Let's make that, fun or part of the show. What would it be?
A Twitter account.
I was going to say a toilet.
So was I.
I beat you to it.
Me three!
Warp speed. Next question. This young lady.
Hello. Okay, first of all, William Shatner is the most sexiest captain that walked on the Enterprise.
He's not signing your boob. You've offended. No. Look, you've offended them.
I thought Kate would be the most offended.
Anyway, your question.
And the question is, William Shatner, would you go in Croatia with me?
In the what?
She said, would you go to Croatia
Oh,
with
Croatia.
Let me take a look. I might go anywhere with you.
Another question right
But
here.
at the moment, I'm needed on stage.
Another question. Oh, are we going to ask the question? So,
Is space big?
is space, it's a little boy and he's asking, is space big? Thank you, Kate. It's very big. Anybody else? This gentleman here.
Hey, this is a question for Patrick. How scared were you following on from Captain Kirk?
Patrick? He wasn't listening, were you? I think his facial expression said it all.
They are trying to embarrass me. And I won't be embarrassed.
Not possible, right?
I'll tell you, I was asked at our first media event, so how does it feel to be filling Bill Shatner's shoes? And I said, the last time I saw them, they were being filled by Bill Shatner very adequately.
You are a unique and lovely, loving person. One of the great people I know in this world, Patrick.
We have another question over here.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
Over this side. Go ahead.
Good to see you all looking really well. I've got a question. What is your favourite piece of science fiction, whether it be TV, movie, or book?
Apart from Star Trek.
Including Star Trek.
Okay. What's your favorite piece of science fiction?
Aliens.
Avery?
The books of Octavia Butler.
The Continuum.
Scott?
Martian Chronicles.
Nice.
Who said Quantum Leap?
And Bill?
I'm trying to remember the name of the blue people in the going. Avatar. Avatar is a milestone.
Question back here.
If you weren't an actor, what would you have liked to be?
Go ahead, Kate.
I wanted to be a doctor.
Go ahead, Scott. Yeah, what would you have wanted to be if you were not an actor?
Probably a professional tennis player or soccer or football, as you call it over here. A professional athlete.
Avery?
The doctor.
Patrick?
A concert pianist who got knighted.
Bill?
I would like to be Croatian, actually.
We'll do two more questions, and then unfortunately we're going to have to wrap up. So this one here, go ahead.
Hi, I wanted to know if you are a believer. I mean, if you really believe in alien life.
Do you really believe in alien life?
Why not?
Yes.
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 There's no question that life exists in the universe. No question. What form it takes is yet to be seen.
We're a minor.
Another question right back here.
Is there any part on the Enterprise that you would want to have in your own household?
Any part of the Enterprise you would want to have in your household? Or
It's so easy, the holodeck. Actually, I've got a close resemblance to it. It's called Two Grandchildren.
Last question right here from the audience.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Much like you guys, Patrick Stewart really makes me nervous. Me too. Do this. I have a nerdgasm. Oh, my nerd. Oh, it's nice to talk to you guys.
Okay. Keep going, because I don't want to be cleaning this up, all right?
I was actually wondering if you guys were sci-fi oriented beforehand. Were you into that kind of thing? And my actual question is, what is each of your favorite books?
So were you into sci-fi before you got involved in the show? And what is your favorite book?
Well, yes, is the answer to the question. You see, is space big? Of course it is, because it's as big as one's imagination. It's as big as the ability for a man to imagine himself, herself, anyone. So the opportunity that my brother and I had, you know, growing up was to imagine ourselves, and one of those things was science fiction. And what I've often said, the older I got and reading, you know, about this power, this gift we have been given to imagine things, is to imagine how we can be better in that way. Science fiction gives us a chance to think about ourselves in minute fashion and get better.
Favorite book, Avery?
Me?
No, Patrick, go ahead. Yes.
Well, I forgot about the first question, but I remember the second part of the question.
Lovely.
Last year, at the end of last year, I read a book called The Warmth of Other Suns, which is about the Great Migration from the southern states of America to the north, and in some ways to the west as well. And it is a phenomenal piece of not only American history, but racial history too, and beautifully written.
Scott, were you a fan of sci-fi and also then the favorite book?
I think you would have to say that I was a fan of sci-fi before I did Enterprise.
Yes.
So that's easy. That part of the question's easy. Favorite book? They're racing through my head. I was thinking about Brave New World yesterday. I was thinking about, let's just say Brave New World.
Okay.
The Mice and Men.
To be honest, I didn't come from a science fiction oriented family, although I came from a family of voracious readers. I hope with what Avery says. I thought that was eloquently and beautifully put. I wish I had been, I wish I had known more about science fiction. But having said that, I think it stood me in good stead that I didn't when I took the role of Captain Janeway. And to answer the second part of your question, I think my favorite book is the same today as it was when I read it when I was very young. And that is one of the great Russians, War and Peace, Tolstoy.
And Bill? Oh, I recently read a book called Ubiquity, and it traces the ubiquity, the unity that all beings, even inanimate matter, but certainly plants and life forms, have in common. We all have so much in common that the very differences are minuscule. And that identity, not only among people, but among animals and plants and the whole of the world, should give us reason to ponder it and try to live up to it.
Well, can I just say,
I didn't answer the second part of the question. I was thinking about it too. I would have to say, in this moment, A Choice of Weapons, written by Gordon Parks. You know, great photographer, yes, film director, writer, all those things. You know, and in essence, what it says is the most powerful tool that we have is the mind. And the most powerful way to deliver that tool is through love. So that we have a choice of how we want to go in the world. That's it.
Can I just say on behalf of everybody here, thank you all very, very much. It's been a pleasure for me to talk to all of you because I've been a fan of Star Trek for a very, very long time. And sci-fi is a huge part of my life and my world. I say thank you on behalf of everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your I want to get it. Now, time to beam us up.
Beam us up. Full memory of Scott.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Make it so.
Prepare to attack. All hands battle station.
Don't worry. We will get to the bottom of this.
All right. Ask is a tall ship and a star steered by.
I don't want excuses. I want answers. Am I authorized to enter the neutral zone? How do you think that tells me about your character?
Captain's log, stardate 3541.9.
Program complete. Enter when ready.